session called the Body Rise and Leg Drop. I learned from the most important thing that was ever taught to me when it comes to fighting. And it was taught to me by my knight, Duke Llewellyn, which was the wavy rising. And you'll see the motion of drop, rise, throw in this move. So the wavy rising, when it was originally taught to me by Llewellyn, I had to ask him to teach me numerous times because I always changed it around and did different things, which is okay. And sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. The wavy rising was intended not to be done with a step. It was intended to be BC range so they could see, because remember in A range, those big fakes just create openings for someone to hit you. Right? You don't want to do those big fakes like I'm doing right now in A range. Body fakes are great in A range. Simple hand pumps are great in A range, but at B and C range, we can do bigger fakes because we have a chance to recover if we make a mistake. So, and I was taught with a shield foot forward stance, but I can do it either way. But I'll do it the way it was taught to me with a shield foot forward. So my knight fought what was called gunslinger, which was basically you point your hilt at your opponent. Okay, and it was off the shoulder, and basically he would make a. Remember we talked before about the big movement. Okay, he would go like this, and it was not intended to be anything but make them think, oh my gosh, the sword is either coming in for a shot or they see that pointing at their face, and everybody reacts by doing this. Okay. So the idea is, you're in guard, and you just go like this. They raise their shield up in response. When they raise their shield up, you start to do the body drop, right? And as they see that, first they raise their shield up, and then as they peek, they see you, just like we did before. They peek, they see you going down, so they lower their shield. And then you rise into the snap. And that's called the wavy rising. So this is the wave. Hello. Okay? So, if you haven't done it before, it's something that takes a little bit of practice. But if you've been fighting and have your basics down, you can do this shot and it works really well. But what I took from it was the idea of rising up as a shot. And that's where I got the idea of, pump fake down low. That came from the wavy rising. And what you can do is you can make variations from it. So I do this right there. That's where the body rise leg drop came from. So instead of somebody blocked that time. All right? Next time, now I'm doing this. So if they don't move their shield, and you have a little bit of time to decide what you're going to do. And it's okay to guess. Lou Gehrig was one of the best hitters of all time, and he was a guess hitter. He was a good guesser. All right? So if you're guessing, and even though I'm guessing, I'm still in a defensive stance. Okay, I'm pretty defensive here. Still pretty defensive. Make sure your shield's in the right place. One of the things you have to work on whenever you're hitting the pel, always have your shield. Because when you first start, that's common. You have to learn to bring your shield in when you're hitting the pel. Anyway, so that was the wavy rising, which kind of led me to all the things that I do now. The full Molinet back to onside leg. So to me, I was telling you before about the Molinet is this movement or that movement. So the full Molinet, as opposed to just we call this, snap, torque, flat snap Molinet. That's what we do in guard. But the full Molinet is that. All right. If I do this movement, this is a smooth fake. If I do this movement, they think I'm going for leg. They drop down or lower their shield. That's what I want them to do. Then I go like this. They raise up and go, oh crap, that's not even a shot. That's not even, that would land flat. Okay. Now if I wanted to, I can go hit straight on. But I'm trying to set them up, so to the offside leg. So the idea is I'm throwing it like I'm going to throw a Molinet to the offside leg. As they see this over here, they see a sword coming towards their face. Remember, we're not professional fighters. They see the sword coming towards their face, they react. And even if they step away, that's fine. Because what if I'm stepping in and I go, now I'm coming over here. Okay? So you don't have to go back to this. So that's the idea of the full Molinet, I call it, because this would have been a Molinet to the outside leg shot. That's the second one that I put there. The smooth fakes, they use the momentum to make it look like, to build up your momentum to another shot. Even something simple as, I'm bringing my sword up here, kind of a smooth and hard fake together there. But, you're using that Molinet, that smooth movement, to get to a position where you can throw your sword. That third one down there, the full Molinade back to offside head or leg, it's a smooth fake. I stopped doing the one back to the head, especially with my back bothering me from Michaelmas. I'll show it to you, but it might not be as good as it can be. So when I say the full Molinade, you know, I'm doing this right there. So it's like a double, like a shot. So, and the idea is I'm getting them to think low, and then when it doesn't happen, I've not stopped my sword, and I've got the momentum to carry me back into the shot. Whether it's a hack or it's a snap wrap, doesn't make a difference. The one to the head is a little bit more involved, and I use what is called the 2+1 rule. So, you know, I've fought people in my practice before, and we have what are called personal tendencies, and I start adding in like 3 and 4 moves before I throw the shot. It's getting a little too, you know, it's called paralysis by analysis. I'm going to do this, they're going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and they're going to do that. And basically, you've just going, and I've done it before. So this shot is kind of, so it does look like, it makes it look like the sword's coming here, and it comes back around to the head. So it looks like I'm going back down. So that was a little harder. It's in my back time already. So the idea is, that's it in slow motion. When I do it fast, it's a little bit more jerky, but with that, to the head. And if you do it slow, it's smooth. It's supposed to be smooth. It's what I call a smooth fake. It's one of my harder shots to do it. And I sometimes take that and set it up with that, and I do the offside head, which is, like I said, instead of going for the offside leg. And that shot's a little more successful. But like I said, I like trying different things. Maybe I would have won more tournaments if I didn't try stupid stuff in tournaments, but I had fun. So, versus lefties. Spoke about that one. Fake snap wrap to the body and thrust. Whether they have a shield or not, you know, if you abbreviate the shot and snap it, so you're doing a fake snap wrap to the body, head thrust. Fake snap wrap to the body. Fake snap. Oh, yeah, lefties got a body over here. I'm thinking, what am I thinking? Lefties. By the way, I do better, I think, against lefties than I do righties, because I was saying before, lefties, someone's getting hit. Okay? If you get in too close against a lefty, bad place to be. Someone is going to get hit. You're just going to start yelling at each other. So what I do is the body is on this side as opposed to a right-hander. And you do that fake snap wrap. Okay, like I was going to just snap to the body or leg. And you stop the shot, make it a hard fake, straight in. Okay? This shot I learned from Ron Galder. Okay? And it's kind of a programming shot. And first time I fought Ron Galder, I did okay. Second time I did really well, and then the last 2 times he destroyed me. So he's really, really good. And I asked him, one of the things you should do when you're fighting people is don't be afraid to ask. Okay? And he's like, oh, this is what I did. And I was like, holy crap, I can do that too. Okay? So anything a lefty can do, a righty can do. So the idea is, and I'm going to do it from this angle, so you can kind of see my opponent behind in front of me. So what he does is and he fights a lot of times with a sword foot lead, and he'll do a pump to the leg to see how you react, all right? And then he'll bring it up here. And then from this position, he's assuming that a person is going to do because you're going offside, you're thinking the person's going to go to the shot over here. And that's what he wants, because then it's a free arm or head. Because he knows where he's going. Actually, somebody with a shield, come on up and I'll pretend to be this. I need a center boss shield. Yep. Okay, be a lefty. Need a sword? Grab a sword. So here we are, and I can set them up by just doing some back cuts to the head, which good old back cut into the lefty. But what Ron Galder did was he went from here, okay, and the person dropped, that's fine, and then he went here. And if see how the person blocks. If the person does this block, so when I go to fake offside, do a hanging block. Ready? Right. So boom, boom, right in there. Now you're reacting, but let's pretend that you're not, okay? And I'm moving much slower than I would be if I was really throwing it. But the idea is,
I don't like it.
If I pump down here, if they drop, I want them to. I act like I'm doing a snap cut. They do that hanging block. Free shot. And all you're doing is going, boom. Okay? And you don't think about doing just, flat Molinades to a lefty, but it can work. Okay? So, and that's a shot that I've gotten lefties with it. I've gotten Killian, I've gotten Thorsten. It probably got me too, but it works. So, and it's a simple, 2+1 move. I do boom, boom, throw. Not too fancy. When you don't know somebody, or even when you don't, if you want to win, don't get too fancy. 2+1, 2 moves, and then you throw the shot. So anyway, so we have pump outside, then the full Molinet back to onside leg. This shot right here can work as well, because the idea is you're drawing them over here, make them think you're doing it. They see this, they raise up, and you can do it. So it can work against the lefty as well. I don't throw that because I don't like being as open if they're throwing a wrap, but it's initiation. If you throw the shot, initiate the movement first, and if, depending on how you feel, how fast you're moving, you might be able to land it. If not, the good thing is, hopefully I'm blocked. So shield position is important there as well. All right. So, by the way, at the end, I'm going to leave this up so you can take a look at it. If this is one of the things you want to look at, we'll make sure it's there. Let's see. Okay, so sword positioning. We talked earlier about the 4 components of the fake. They have to initiate it, they have to see it, they have to react, and then you have to have your sword in a place where you can get the shot. We kind of alluded to that with the idea of when we do that pump and raise up, we leave our hand low so we can throw the leg shot. So this shot doesn't work as well as it used to because people know it now, but it still works. And when I first started using it, it was great. This is about maybe 12, 13 years ago. And I won a bunch of fights with it. But the idea is, so let's say I want to throw this whole movement up here, but I want to step with it. So what I'm going to do is I step over here. Now if I want to make the person think I'm going to the right, where I'm stepping, I can do it like this. Okay, they see that sword, they're going to take it legit, right? So to get a little bit of advantage and create that space, I may do a little fake first, or something to get them to react before I take that step. But if I end up over here and I try to go back offside, this is a big movement. It takes a long time for me to develop this shot to bring it back, or bring it back offside. So it's a hard shot to deliver. By putting your hand in a different position, you can speed that up. Simply by, if I do this movement here and I take that step, but notice where I left my sword. My sword is over here, okay? As opposed to over here. If it's over here, they don't have to worry about the offside because they'll have plenty of time to adjust if I bring it back over. Unless you're Brand who's super fast, okay? But the idea is if I'm over here. But if I leave my sword here, if I leave my tip over here, now I can bring it back. Or from here, I can hammer straight down. So let's have I need a demonstration of somebody come up here and I can show them how it works. Grab a sword. So the idea is I want them to move and react by moving to, if I step to their deep shield side, I want them to do this because that's going to make it even easier, okay? Alright, so right hand, yeah. So if I do a fake up here or just do something like that, and if I do step over here, he's going to see if I go back on side. And he's going to be able to block that very easily with a sword or a shield because it takes a while to develop this shot to come back over here. But if I do a Molinet to the offside body and set it up by leaving my sword in position, okay, and I can do that pretty quickly. You can do it to the body, you can do it to the leg. I don't always do it to the head in that situation. And you can also, if the person overreacts, you can just straight hammer slide. So if they rotate with you, okay, boom. Well, let's put your shield foot forward. Okay? Like I said, this is fantasy. I'm going to do this, and they're going to do that. But sometimes it happens, right? So we're in guard, and I do a step like that. I do some kind of shot. Well, if you do that with your sword up like that, that's not a normal stance. You're just going to leave your head open. Fight like you're fighting. Is that your shield? Yeah. Okay. All right. So here we are like this. If I basically do a pump shot like there, okay, I would just to rotate my hand out. I wouldn't stick my sword out. But anyway, okay. So I do this, and then if I step over here, if he rotates that all like that, I can do this straight down this left. And I'm going slow. He saw it. He went like this. He's not going to see it that fast. If I do it on at full speed, it's fast. Okay. Instead of going there, it's to there. But the idea is you're making them think you're going this way because remember, all shots originate from the torso. So if my torso is oriented in this position, I'm probably going to have a tough time and it's going to take more development to come back offside. But by leaving my hand there, I can now do it. Okay? So that's a sword positioning thing. Complex. I have my own terminology that I use to remind myself of what the shot. I keep a practice key. All right. My practice key I have with me on my phone, and there are shots that I've done before that I haven't thrown for a year because it's hard. I don't know about you. Maybe you guys have better memories than I do. Okay, but I can't always remember all the things I do. All right. If I was just doing the basics, I wouldn't have this, but I like to have fun. So I have a list of different things, different shots that I do. And I'm not a Zen fighter. I'm not like, oh, this will be open. I'm a playbook person. Okay? I have a playbook. I have a list of shots that I do. If I run out of shots, I guess I just go back to the basics. That's not a bad thing. Okay? So offside head pump to offside head with snap to onside head up pump. So the way this one looks is onside head. So I'll pump to the head, okay? And then hopefully they react. Natural tendencies, they're going to react, raise their shield, do something. And then from this position, boom, from here, okay? So they've reacted by leaning back or dropping down or something, and now I'm ahead. I'm creating opportunity, I'm creating space. So boom, here, okay? If they lean over there, off the shoulder, Molinet straight cut to the face. And it's fast, so it's okay? And the idea is you're misdirecting them by stepping to the offside, making them think you're going that way. And your hand is actually, I've done something to make them think. From here, I look like I'm going for this, all right? I look like I'm going boom, all right? And that's what most people think. Is if I go boom, from here, right to the face, okay? And that's just basically a flat cut, or you can Molinet either way. But the idea is you're doing it. So, yeah, I can do it, instead of stepping this way, I can lean to the other way, okay? I'm sorry, that's the next one. So that one is basically boom. And I think Tarek was telling me about something where you look one way and throw in another direction. That's why I said before, when I fight somebody, I don't look at their eyes. But nobody's perfect. We all fall for it. Okay? I look at their torso, because their torso determines where the shots can originate from. Unless there's somebody who's got a crazy shot like Kadud. If you've ever fought Kadud, he's got that shot that comes behind 3 people's heads and hits you. That's just not a normal shot. Until you've experienced it, you won't know what I'm talking about. Okay? Okay, so this is one which is a hard fake, and it's basically you act like you're going for the offside leg, snap to the head. And the idea is, if I pump to the offside leg, they're going to lower their defense. And I just come, oops, sorry. And I just basically do a back cut. And there's different ways to throw that, but the idea is, boom. And it's a hard fake because it has that stopping point. It's a great fake. It's easy. Doesn't require a lot of energy from the person who's throwing it. There are some fakes that require a lot of energy. That's a pretty safe fake. Boom, you can actually step with it, or you can just come across with it and throw it. Yeah. Well, one of the things I like is, I've spoken before about initiation. Hopefully I've got the upper hand. If I'm doing it fast, hopefully I can get out of there. I don't know, I just stay away. Good point. My defense is, there's 2 things. One, I try to hide behind my shield. And I'm always, when I do that shot, boom, I'm usually stepping away. You're
sliding into your shield zone.
Yeah. But you got to be careful though, because if you do that move and you go boom, that's going to land with power.
The important part of that turn, look at where Lee's foot is at when he puts it down. Imagine the position in relative position with opponents. When he makes that step in the first part of it, the weak foot is at least even with the opponent, generally a little bit outside, which gives him the outside lane.
And that's what I'm saying, because the person is here, and if I go this position right here, my sword's up here, I can see what's going on. All right? If he just does a hammer shot, I might be in trouble.
Yeah, that's my concern. If somebody just throws when they see
fighting is a risk.
Throwing is one thing, but what would be worse for him is if somebody actually steps out of his foot.
Right.
That would give it the whole back. That's why that step is important.
Yeah. And I usually, like I said, if you fight with a sword, a shield foot forward, it's a little harder to make this one work. This one works better when you have a sword foot to make them, fall for it. Because if I go like this is now I'm really wide open. So if I have a sword foot forward and I go, it's a little bit safer.
Right, you've changed your relative position.
So you're right, stance, that's a good question. There's Duke Sean, when he came and taught his class, he spoke about recovery. And my recovery, like I said, is get out of Dodge. Most of the time. And a lot of times it's just like, you know, that works too. You know, sometimes people say, oh, it's an amazing block. And it was like, it's called being just,
It was a desperate act.
it was desperation.
Couldn't you start that at C range to get the footing in?
To get the
Start at C range?
yeah. Okay, so this shot right here is a shot that I practiced for months. And I do a 2-in-1. That's a 1 and a shot. This shot right here I'm about to show you is something I add to it. And I've won a crown with it. I won you know, it doesn't work every time. But I basically add another move and make it 2+1. I do that abbreviated wrap. You guys have seen me throw the shot if you've seen me fight, and it looks like this. So the idea is, I do this, they raise up, okay? From that position, they're seeing me now go down like I'm throwing, like I was going to throw it back to the leg or back to the body. And they go, whoa, whoa, okay? And it's boom, back up. It's almost a free shot. So you got to turn this video off because, you say maybe 4 or 5 years ago? Okay. So I was fighting John Paul, and I ended up winning this tournament because I had to get past John Paul. And I'd been practicing this shot for a while, and I was like, I couldn't do anything. John Paul, you know, he has the most incredible Molinet, and I was so scared of his Molinet. I was like, crap, I haven't fought him in so long, it's going to kill me. Why don't I just try my shot? And I went, whoop, whoop, back cut to the face. And he said, oh my gosh, Kern, you got to show me that later. So I showed it to him. And then I'm like, well, you have to, when it comes to fighting, whether it's fake fighting or anything else, you have to always be thinking about what am I going to do when they figure that out. Okay, so now you got to turn off because it's just a shot that I don't want John Paul to know.
Okay. Secret
I hope
shot.
you got that last part on.
Secret shot.
That whole time your shoulder above is open.
Okay, and that's how I'm going to kill John Paul. So what's the defense against that?
I just see your shoulder and your head open the whole time you're doing that.
Right. Well, you know, when I do it, I'm moving a whole bunch. So my opponent is here. If I start to do this, and they start to throw a shot, before I do this, I've got some opportunities to stop what I'm doing. These are some big C-range movements. And the idea is I'm doing things to get myself into position where I can throw that shot. All right. So if I'm out here and I'm making the pelt virtual right now, my opponent is not there. It's something I do at the gym all the time when I hit the belt. I have a little tiny room with a mirror that I can use and get feedback from. So my opponent is here now, and I'm assuming, let's say they're backing up. If they don't, I'm stopping, because then I'll be in a bad position, right? But let's say my opponent backs up. They're backing up, boom, boom in the face, okay? So, and I'm not moving so well with my back, but the idea is I did kind of take some steps. If I was really committed to that, I probably would have been throwing it, you know, a little bit lower on the sword. But if I start to do this and they start to do stuff, I'm avoiding and I'm stopping. If they do what I want them to do, thank you, and I get a free shot maybe, because I've created that opening and that separation. Yeah.
One of the things, if I may,
Sure.
one of the things that and maybe you weren't thinking this, but I know a lot of unbelts that are. We're watching Duke Kern go through a particular movement. Okay? Now, he said it several times, but I want to make sure that you don't miss it. A lot of times as he's saying this, he's evaluating what his opponent is doing and making decisions as he's going through. He has a plan, but that plan is not carved in stone. He's adjusting as his opponent moves. What I don't want you to do, and what I see a lot of people doing, what your question sounded like, was that I'm going to do this move. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do exactly what I saw Duke Kern do. I don't care what my opponent does, that's what I'm going to do. And if you go and you do that and your opponent does something, yes, when he's doing this, he's open. Anytime you do something, you're going to be open to something. When he's doing this, if his opponent does something different in the position that he's in, yes, he's open. When he sees his opponent moving to that
You have
position,
to take some risk. You know, with every shot you throw, there's risk. I mean, the perfect example what he's saying is a wrap. Whenever you throw a wrap, you are way open, more so than this, okay? Because a wrap is inherently, I think, is very, you leave yourself open. Your arm is way out there. It's a committed shot. This I can do. I can throw a multi. I'm tighter. To me, you don't see some of the best fighters throw wraps that much anymore. I'm not sure if it's because of their elbows, but because you only do it when it's there. You know, it has to be something that presents itself. you know,
And-
just because we're old.
And that's it. When you say he's open to this position, he's got the experience. He knows if his opponent is going to move and that's going to be a danger, he just said earlier, he's going to abort and do something else. So don't go into it with the idea of, I'm going to do this maneuver regardless.
And I'll repeat what I said earlier, which is, remember, there's an inherent flaw in fake fighting. If you rely just on the fake, you're not going to be successful. You have to be able to throw those power combinations and blast people. Because they're not always going to do what I want them to do. But if they do, woohoo! You know, I get to have some.
There are fighters out there that as soon as you move any part of you, they just start throwing shots at you.
Yeah.
That's probably not the best fighter to try a fake on.
Right, and so, you know, one of my things I know, since I've hurt my shoulder, I've had to go to a little bit smaller shield. People say, well, that's not that small, but it's smaller than I used to use. And I can't hold it up. And, you know, most people that see my fighting lately, you know I know what your plan should be if you want to beat Kern. Okay? Your plan, if you want to beat Kern, is to get inside on Kern. If you didn't figure that out yet, I'm sorry, take that off the video. But that is, I know what your plan should be. Now, if you're fighting with an axe, you don't have to get inside. You can poke for free. But if you're fighting with a sword and shield, your plan should be able to get in on me. If you don't know what you have to know what your strengths and weaknesses are when you fight. Okay, my strength is BC range. That's where I'm deadly. You know, I can throw shots and I can kill people in there, but I want to get out so I can start doing my tricks again. Okay. And I know that your plan is to get in on me, and that helps me. I already know what your plan is. Because if you don't do that, I'm pretty good at BC. Okay, and I'll play fake you out. Best fighters are confident in their defense. I'm just waiting for the opening. So, punch setups. So this is the idea of, it kind of comes from the old gunslinger style. Gunslinger style, remember, is off the shoulder, your hilt is pointing towards your opponent. You never did it with a center grip, but we had a strap shield. And the idea was, boom, right? And I can throw from here. All these shots look the same. Whether I'm from here, going there, they start out by the sword coming out. The initiation of the shot is similar. If I throw offside, they start off the same. So the punch thing is when you develop and learned how to throw shots from a position of a little higher guard and off the shoulder, and your sword should always be in a cone around you. Because if you're fighting out like this now, there's times when you want to make somebody think about your thrusting. But when you're ready to fight and you want to throw shots, your sword should be in a cone around you. Because from this position, you can basically do anything. Okay? If you're doing this, I can't do that. But if even if I'm over here, I can do that. So that cone is important for initiation of your shot. So the punch setup is basically I punch out, and let's use a demonstration. So if I punch out here, where am I going?
Wherever your
Exactly.
tip decides to go.
Okay, so I can do this, and then do broken wrist going there. I can do this, and do that. Oh, sorry, did I hit you?
Hit the sword into my head. That's all.
Are you okay? All right.
I'm me, so
All right. Hey, have a helmet in Kern's class. Okay, so there's things you can do, which I said before about they look like a real shot, but they're not. Okay, especially against Florentine fighters and people with really small shoes. So if I do this punch setup, okay, I can go anywhere. I can go from here, I can come down here, all right? But I really, from up high, I can't come down low. The shield's in the way. Okay, even if they have a small shield, okay? But what you can do is, you've done this a couple times, right, go dark, okay? And instead of doing that, you punch here. Now they see that sword coming towards their face, and that's what they focus on. Oh, it's coming towards my head. And they do this. But because your hilt is down, boom. Okay. Sorry. Anyways, the idea is, and it works great against Florentine fighters too, because Florentine fighters, you can't really blind them. So you have to kind of make them think you're going high. You throw a couple high ones, and you do the same thing here. They see that sword up high, they raise their swords, and from here, it's body torque right underneath the shield, underneath the swords. Not so good against yours, because yours goes down farther. There's always something that doesn't work. So, but that's the idea. So if I go from here, punching, where am I going? Boom, boom, boom. And then here, and they think they see the sword coming up high. So here we are, and I go right to the leg, underneath their buckler or their small shield or their two swords. And this shot works really well. This is just something that Benin taught me a shot. I call it Benin's double flat snap. And I couldn't get it to work until I figured out a little trick. So Benin has this shot, and I may not do it right, but basically it's boom, boom. Okay, so he's throwing a shot, and it's a contact thing. But to make it a non-contact fake, what I'll do is I'll send it out, all right? They're going to block it. If I commit to the shot, sometimes it's harder to bring it back to throw a second shot. Okay, it's easier sometimes to throw it partially to bring it back to get it in faster. What I was finding when I did that, and you're stepping over here and making them think you're going low, they bring their shield down and you're getting a free shot. But I was having trouble getting that second shot up fast enough. So I call that, so there's ways to throw this. You can go, boom, stick your arm out and pull it all the way back. Or, pull the sword back. Notice my arm didn't come all the way back. By retracting, when I say arm retraction, I mean like your wrist is retracting the sword. I have charged my weapon. My weapon is now ready to crank. So that's just something to think about whenever you're setting up your shot, is don't forget to use your wrist to pull the sword back to charge the weapon. It creates that separation that you need to throw the shot. And if you haven't thought about it, it can make a big difference in how fast and how powerful you can deliver that second shot. Okay? Does that make sense?